Hi, everybody. You're all very welcome. My name's Howard Murphy. I'm the Business Development Manager for DB Computer Solutions. It's absolutely great to see so many people here joining on today. So for those that don't know us, DB Computer Solutions are an accredited business partner for Sage Ireland, who provide solutions covering Sage's portfolio of software, including some of our own modifications, and through some of our other accredited developer partners. Sage 50 alongside Sage 200 is one of Sage's flagship packages. It's a flexible business solution for small to medium businesses that simplifies financial management and business processes. So DB Computer Solutions have built a sizable base of Sage 50 users over the last 20 or so years. Through acquiring that level of customers, we've not only provided solutions, but also learned, where we can introduce efficiencies. For our session today, my colleague Anya Knightley will be looking at the benefits of using the latest version of Sage 50. Not only will we show you what Sage 50 can do, but we'll also highlight some bolt-on tools and the advantages they provide. Speaking of which, we're also very lucky to have Mark Donaldson from Reveal, who will give us a general overview of one such solution that will integrate with your existing copy of Sage 50 also, which helps interrogate all of your current history in Sage 50. So what we sent out to you there recently, that's literally what we're going to actually go through. Anya's going to take a look at the latest version of Sage. She'll check to see, we'll also give you instruction as to how you can check and see which version you're actually on. She'll highlight some of the main differences of the last couple of iterations as to what it will actually give you. And we'll go through some of those items. We'll also talk briefly on what options are available around some of the cloud security options. To be honest, most of those particular options, it's best served if we work on a one-to-one basis. We take a look at your existing setup and how that's operating. So please feel free to put forward any questions you may have through the chat itself, which we'll answer for you towards the end. And without much further ado, as you can probably see on screen here at the moment, I'd like to introduce you to my colleague, Anya Knightley, who's going to take you through Sage 50. Hi, Anya, how are you?
Hi, Howard, how are you? I'm just going to share my screen now.
Please do. Good stuff. And for anybody just unfamiliar with Teams, I know a lot of people have gotten familiar with Teams over the last while. In order to see the screen, clearly and the best way possible, up at the top of the screen, if you do click View and click on Focus on Content, and if you select more options, full screen, you should see it in a much wider view as well.
Howard, is the screen visible now?
Yeah, it's all good. You can carry on.
Okay, thank you, Howard, for that. And some of you are already familiar with myself because I can see a lot of our existing Sage 50 customers and Sage Payroll customers have registered today. So I would like to take the opportunity to say thank you, and also thank you for your continued support and business to DB. We very much appreciate all our customers, and we continue to support you as best and as good as we can every day and all day. So hopefully you'll get some insight into how you're using the package and how Sage 50 can help you make better enhancements moving forward. We also have some clients today that are thinking of changing from their existing payroll and also the accountancy package to Sage. So there'll be an insight into navigating the software and seeing how it will work for you moving into a new Sage package. So if we go to Help on the screen and we go to About, here we have a program detail, and that will give us the version number. Now, the latest version of Sage is 29.0. So that is the version and the most correct and up-to-date version. So anybody that is on a lower version can get in contact with ourselves after the webinar today, and we will update you. Serial number is over under license information. That also gives us the volume of users and the volume of companies. Now, these can be increased or decreased depending on company sizes and also multi-users within an organization. So some of the new features under the customers in the new version 29, Sage bring out an update every year around September, and we work through the customers doing the updates. And here we have one customer, ABC Garage, and I will show you in the defaults here. You can see under the email setting and addresses that we have now, and Sage have expanded it to 6 email addresses. So this has given yourselves the opportunity to be able to have separate email addresses if you're sending out purchase orders, separate email addresses for invoices, and also an email address maybe to the accounts to person. It's giving you way more flexibility there, because before there was only 2 options or 3. These can be then designed in the template in the background, so it'll automatically go to the email address number 3 for the purchase order or email address number 1 for the statement. Also, we have in the default tab here, you can see under the custom fields, they've expanded it to give us 3 more analysis fields. These are very good if you're trying to get reporting. As you can see here, we have designed it so that you can get a report for a sales rep. So you have, it's a trade company, the sales rep is George, and then by region. So some people may have spoken to Sean in DB Computers, and he has helped them design bespoke reports that are not standard with Sage, but we can use some of these fields in the background to help bring out more information on Sage 50 into a reporting. So if I close that. Also, a lot of the questions that come in through the support are, there's quite a lot of reports here over on the right-hand side. These are with all the modules. You've got debtors, you've got creditors, you've got reports. So what I always advise people to do is we pick out, as part of the training, we pick out the reports that they use on a day-to-day basis, and we actually just, for example, if I go to the daybook reports, you can see there's a star beside it. So what I normally do is anything that's relevant every day, I just add it to favorites. So here we have all the reports that they use, got to do with debtors and daybooks, so they don't have to drill through them. Also, another feature that they have, if you look up here on the right-hand side, you've got help. So when you're in customers, anything to do with customers will appear here. So if I go into a batch invoice window and I click help, all the information relating to a batch customer invoice will come up here. So one of the new keys here is if you click on the customer, by putting the net amount, they also have a gross box here on this. This is a new feature. It wasn't in the lower versions. And I can save. So you have 2 options when you're using the invoice module under customers. You can batch in the invoice, or you can actually do an invoice through invoice and credits by going into new invoice. And you can look at your account, and here as well, if you have quite a volume of customers on the list, there is a new little feature here that you can put in and it'll bring up the customer for you. Again, that's on version 29, and you can say OK. You can pull up your product code if you use products on the system. And as you can see in here, you can always double check that you're happy with your nominal code and your tax code. Excuse me. So say OK and save. So they're just, excuse me, some of the features on the invoicing module. So if excuse me, I'll move to the suppliers. And we also have under the suppliers, we have, again, if we're batching in an invoice, I go to my account. And you can see, again, we have the gross button. This is a new feature and it's very handy because all you could see before was the net and the VAT and we could never see the total coming out and it was confusing people. And you also have, if I put in 700 here, we can use the calculate net button and that'll work back the VAT. And I can save that. Again, in the suppliers, we also have the help functionality here. Anything to do with the suppliers, any questions, you can actually just put into the search option and the answer will appear there for you. I'm going to move to,
sorry,
okay, thank you.
Yeah, just to interrupt you there, I noticed we have a new filter kind of option there as well. Is that some additional functionality on suppliers and customers as well?
There is, yeah, you're correct. We have the refresh. What the refresh button there does is if you have a multi-user, Howard, you will be able to say you're a second user on the same company and you're adding new suppliers. If I click refresh on my machine, they will appear in real time. And also there's a filter here where I often use this if I'm looking for where. If I'm doing, mostly I use these filters if I'm looking for balances or if there's quite a high volume of suppliers, I can filter where account name is equal to. I'll just give you an example there. So we have all different options where account on hold, where we'll say analysis. If you have in the customers, you'd use maybe the analysis. If you had a sales rep, I'll actually just show it to you, Howard, in the customers rather than the suppliers.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
If I go into the customer and if I look under ABS Garage, in the default, I have the customer type. I have the analysis 2 is George, so he's obviously a sales rep. So I'll just see if I can bring up some information on George.
Yeah, because that's interesting because I know as we in DB use Sage 200 and you start to see some of the functionality in 50 nearly encroaching on Sage 200, but realistically it's very handy. I mean, we typically internally as say any of the representatives as they enter sales orders or they're looking at their actual customers, they can save a particular filter that's linked to that particular user as they've entered it on the system, or we use rep codes like that as well, and they become very useful for anybody. So they can only focus on the information that's relevant to them, like the actual sales orders or customers, of course.
Yes, so this is now filtered. We had 30 customers, but these 18 customers relate to George, who's the sales rep for these particular accounts. So again, come back to us if there's a benefit there and we can get Sean in DB to even do more magic and more reports. This is just a guide as to how we can do some extra reports. So also one of the other things I'd like to, we get a lot of questions in, Howard, from the support team, is the way businesses are moving forward now is in the bank accounts. A lot of customers now want to, like the payroll, they want to generate a file and they want to pay all their suppliers at the end of a month, and they can have that pre-prepared and a date on the file for the bank. So within the banking situation, we've got a bank current account and we have the bank details here. So these are the bank details that are relevant to the business, and how the electronic banking works is here you would select the bank that you use. Some people use SEPA bank transfer, some people have AIB SEPA. So 90% of the time it's SEPA or AIB. Bank of Ireland, I think, go under SEPA. So we would just select it here. Sometimes if it's not on the list, you can contact ourselves and we download it for you, and then it will appear here. So we save that and we close. And then we go back to our suppliers and we add in the bank details here. So as you can see, the bank details are here and the payment method is SEPA. That's just automatically highlighted and ticked. Okay. So the customer there is McAnally. So I go into my bank account and I click on supplier payment. And as I can see here, the reference is BAC. So I can pay in full, whatever invoices I want, and I can save that. I can continue on to my next supplier. I can then go over to my e-payments, and here's a list of the payments that I have created today. I can just click on swap here. So these are, and I click on send. So I can have a look at the list here, show the details. So I'm paying here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I say, okay, I can get that approved if I want. And then I just have to put in here my bank reference, which is sometimes the banks, they'll give you what you call a 6-digit OIN number. I save this to a location on my machine. There might be 5 people paid, there could be 30 people paid, and then that file is uploaded to the bank. It also makes bank reconciliation an awful lot easier as well. So you're getting away there from going in and manually paying people. There is a security also on this where you can get it approved by somebody else before the file is sent to the bank. If there's somebody in the accounts, they can also send maybe the age creditors file first to get those approved before you actually do the payments. So that's on the bank side. Also, I just like to say that if there is any customers that are thinking of moving from TAS over to Sage 50, what we have here is the Sage nominal codes, and these are the ones that come pre-boxed, we'll call it, with Sage. But some customers are very familiar with their own codes and they like to continue them because they're familiar with the number, they're also familiar with the name. So we are able, as a company, able to import those directly into Sage, and then we configure the chart of accounts to accommodate that and those codes. So if you are thinking of moving from an older system, we can bring in your existing codes and names and you can continue to use those moving forward. So in the nominal codes, we can add more headings, and then we have the chart of accounts. We can configure the chart of accounts so that you can group and ungroup items. Some people like to have a lot of sales grouped together. Some people like to have the individual sales, like in DB Computers, we'd have printer sales, computer sales, or maybe just all sales together. It depends on how your company like to have things reporting. I'll just give you a look at the trial balance. As you can see here, this particular example is just sales north, sales south, sales Scotland. But in the chart of accounts, we can have everything under one, or we can have it listed individually. We go through that with different companies as part of our training, and we can give them some tips on the reasons why to group and ungroup things. Also, our VAT, I wanted to mention as well, because we've got a lot of companies that are contacting us that have English companies. So we will help you set them up through the HMRTC, and the Sage 50 will accommodate that. We just have to change our settings on the regional settings to the UK, and then we have scale charges here also as an extra module, and then we just need a user ID and a password from the HMRTC, and then that file is automatically synchronized to the UK revenue site, which is called the HMRTC. So if there's anybody that needs help with that, just contact us as well. We've had a lot of queries with that because I think the date that you have to do that is now due with the UK. Is there any, Howard, is there any questions?
Yeah, some of the other things I noticed when we were looking through the new features were things like, we have a longer product description in there as well. And I believe a posting lock also. There were a couple of other items, I believe.
Oh, yes, you have a longer description here, you can see, for a stock code. And the lock date, yes, that's a very good one, Howard, because we have, it's quite simple just to turn on because it's actually under settings and some people aren't familiar with it. So it means that if you've finished and you don't want anybody to enter any more transactions, you could put in a certain date there and it will flag it for you. With Sage 50 as well, Howard, for the people that aren't Sage 50 users at present, you have purchase orders, you've got sales orders, you've got quotations, pro forma invoices, stock projects. So there's the projects module as well, which is
for people unfamiliar with sort of the projects module, it's very handy for tracking costs for particular projects that you may be working on. We've also sort of looked at putting together separate webinars based around the actual project module, but we want to sort of find out the interest from our own team first to see if it is something of interest. So please do forward on, let us know if it's something of interest to you. Same thing with fixed assets. We'd like to sort of show those, but we might show them in separate sessions as they don't necessarily relate to everybody.
Also, Howard, there is, I don't have it set up on the test demo here because it has to be, the username and password has to go in and it has to synchronize with the bank. So that's something that we can do separately with anybody that wants to get in touch with us afterwards and I have, if they contact me directly on that, we'll set up the bank feeds with the client. So that's going to help people doing bank reconciliation and it will speed up the whole bank reconciliation process. So that's another feature that's new to version 29. Anybody that's on lower than 29 should get in contact with us and we'll get you up to speed and up to date, as I mentioned at the start. So all the new features that are on the system will be there available to you then.
So the bank feeds, what we'll also be doing is when we're finished, a copy of the video will be put up on YouTube and passed to everybody here and everybody who registered. So anybody who didn't get a chance to come in at the start, don't worry, we're going to send it out to you. We'll also tack on links to the likes of the particular bank feeds that Sage 50 can handle. There are listed banks and the different services that each of the banks actually provide. So if you're interested on the bank feed side, as Anya accurately said, it's not something we can do immediately in a demonstration because it's more in a live environment, with your own bank. And that's typically what we would share with you. We can go through it and we can talk to you about it.
Perfect. Thank you, Howard.
I'd like to just extend out to anybody if they have any other further questions that they want to bring up on some of the new features that are there within Sage 50, or if there's something within Sage 50 currently at the moment that you feel you're not getting from the system, maybe we can answer that as well. So while we're waiting on a couple of questions to come in for Sage 50 in itself. Anya, I'm just going to take control of the screen there for a second. If that's
I just want to add on the recurring entries.
Yes.
You can see the posting again. That's they put the net amount, the tax and the VAT. There wasn't that option there previously, so that's a new feature as well on version 29 on the recurring entries.
Very good.
Posting amounts, it's showing you the VAT amount as well as the net amount.
Very good. So what I'm going to do is we may share your screen again. But I'm just going to move over to ourselves here currently. So Outside of what you see there within Sage 50, the nice thing is that Sage have a number of accredited developers who operate around all of the actual Sage products. Just to give you some examples, and we're not going to get into them, but just to highlight some areas. As you can see here on screen, what we have is we supply a barcoded warehouse management system called BarScan 50, which is relatively straightforward to implement. We can go through, how you can actually barcode your products. There is additional functionality you can gain from the likes of BarScan, which is, typically if you have a requirement for batch traceability, for adding serial numbers, lot numbers, expiry dates, and so on, you can utilize BarScan to do that. Sage CRM, again, a Sage product. We can integrate directly with your copy of Sage 50. What that provides is, aside from the normal sort of CRM functionality, it also gives a window into your existing account system and allows for sales order processing directly from CRM itself via a browser. So you can generate your quotations using the products that are already existing on Sage 50. You can even see, an age debtors with regards to specific customers. You can follow through the quote all the way through to creation of a brand new account in Sage 50, quotation converted to sales order, all of that's there. For all of these solutions, incidentally, we're going to include a link on our actual channel so that you can actually jump on. We've done shorter demonstrations on these items also. Sim 50 is a product that Sage have started to sell directly themselves. Sage used to have a manufacturing module, but since Sim 50 came on the marketplace, they've sold it directly from an actual partner. And then that will provide very simple or detailed production manufacturing style processes. So again, we'll have a link in there for that. If anybody wants to talk in a bit more detail about that, please get in touch with us. Of course, Microsoft Office integrates very well with Sage 50 also. And one of the points that Anya made earlier on when we were looking at version 29 is the fact that we have some additional, how would you say, analysis codes on Sage 50 that were critically missing for quite a number of years. There was only 3 there. Sage 200 itself has about 20 analysis codes and allows for vast reporting, but we can do some real magic with pivot tables, reading live data directly from Sage 50, as opposed to you dumping information into Excel and then trying to, manipulate the data on screen to give you the actual reporting that you need. So we can help you work with your existing copy of Office in doing that. And with regards to that, and leads us on kind of nicely, is we have a guest presenter here today as well from Reveal. And what Reveal does is effectively it's a dashboard solution directly into your KPI information of your live history on Sage 50. So both the Office integration and what the guys at Reveal can do are reports typically along the lines of, well, pretty much whatever you want, but you can have them say particular reports for like-to-like reports based on stock, based on profit margins, based on whatever. And the nice thing with Reveal as well is that you can tie in other data sources into it as well. So while we're waiting on a couple more questions to come in, I think it might be a point in time to bring Mark in from Reveal. If you can hear me, Mark.
Hello, can you hear me?
You're there. Excellent.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay. Technology works. Brilliant.
Yeah, perfect. Listen, many thanks for joining today. Really appreciate it. I don't know if your cameras, oh, there you are now. There you go.
There you go.
And as if there was any doubt where you're from, it's up in the top left-hand corner. So look, this is just to give people a quick glimpse as to the potential that they can actually get out of the existing Sage 50. A lot of people who've been using 50 for years have built up a lot of historical data. And obviously, there's some real critical information in there that some people can feel is very difficult to get at, based on the fact that some of the reporting within Sage 50, the standard reports, can seem a little tricky to sort of build, or they have to talk to ourselves or Sage in order to do it. But you have a very simple way of doing that, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, thank you, and nice to meet everyone. We automate that process. So I was spending my life as an accountant and finance director in a business, extracting that information out manually into Excel. So sales analysis, slow moving stock analysis, all sorts of stuff. And I think it was that eureka moment at about 3 a.m. one morning. I was thinking this massive 25 meg spreadsheet that I couldn't email. I had to take on a memory stick and go to the client and run through with data that was a week old, because that's when I'd scrape the data and all of that sort of stuff. There had to be a better way of doing it. So 8 years ago, set up what is now Reveal, and effectively that automates the reporting straight out. It covers all sorts of information from sales, project analysis. The reporting inside 50 natively on projects is lacking. We do a lot in projects. Budget information, we're now able to import the budget information directly into Reveal. And something Anya mentioned at the start around the analysis fields, and you just covered it then, Howard. They're really powerful. If you can, and often when we give a demo, we'll have a look and go, okay, departments and analysis fields, both product and customer and supplier analysis fields, are often blank. And actually, that's the perfect way of slicing and dicing the data. So if you can tag your customers by salesperson, you can then report on your sales by salesperson, and actually see what's up, what's down, which product categories are up and down, or which service lines are up and down by salesperson, by simply doing an import in. So into Sage. So getting the data right in Sage 50 is absolutely spot on, and that's what I've heard.
Yeah, we've gotten great responses from what we've done with Excel ourselves, what you guys have provided also. And it's an eye-opener really for a lot of clients who've had data build up on their copy of Sage 50 for years, and they just haven't been able to get at it at all. It's something we try and encourage. The more we come out and we visit clients and we sort of prompt them to sort of look at these things, because what they've probably been doing for years is they've probably been putting in a lot of manual effort in order to build these things on a monthly basis, when realistically, one way or another, it doesn't have to be that way.
Can I share my screen? I've got something open on my screen. It's on exactly that. So this is hopefully you can see that. This is something that we produced with Sage. Just a little info sheet, and I can share this with you afterwards if there's anybody who would like a copy. But yeah, 530,000 working days wasted each year managing data, and it is that automation side. So this was a flyer that we worked with Sage on directly, and it outlines the various different dashboards that are available inside Reveal. Which, if I just do this, hopefully I can see. You can see Reveal now. So this is the front end of Reveal. I won't go through much of it at all, but essentially this is fully automated. The information that comes out of Sage populates all of this information. We update the data every evening, so it analyzes weekly sales orders, your customer orders, where you are, a very high level kind of view, sales, EBITDA, debtors, who owes you money, focusing on overdue days rather than just your usual kind of 30, 60, 90 days. Actually, what I care about is, when I was FD, was what's overdue, creditors, and then some key sort of ratios. But the bit I just wanted, there's a whole load of dashboards down the left hand side. I've got two I just wanted to very quickly show. If I just pre-filter off there, just the product from the sales part of the sales dashboard. So if I look at the last financial year against the previous year, it's quick. This is live. This is a real live version. Shows we're 46% up. The demo data here is lacking, but automatically pulls out sales by individual customer, shows those that have increased, those that have decreased, and then you can drill in. You can filter it down by individual product. You can drill into a particular customer, and this is where the analysis fields really come in. If you can filter down by salesperson, or by region, or by customer type, so you might have, I don't know what I've got in my example here, different types of customer, so cash, public, trade, different categorizations, all that sort of stuff, public sector, private sector, however that works, it's instant. You just click a button and away you go. And you can provide different access to different members of the team as well. So yes, and it's always right. It's always correct. The information that's in there is always correct. It's not. It's that Excel that Excel danger, which is, you know, fell foul of that so many times. And then so there's the graphical stuff, and then there's tabular stuff as well. So profit and loss, the ability to run your profit and loss. You can then right click and drill in and show the underlying transactions within there. So that'll drill back and show you, you've got your individual nominal codes, but if I right click and show transactions, it pulls out all the information straight from within Sage. Because it's cloud-based, you can access it wherever you are. So holiday season, you can be on the beach and looking at your data.
Very good. So I take it you can access it via mobile device as well. I think you mentioned before.
Yeah, it pulls it down onto a mobile device, so it displays on the mobile and tablet. Yeah, anywhere you are. So.
And
yeah.
look, just sorry for just jumping in, but you also mentioned to me not so long ago about some cash flow reporting that you guys have. Now, I haven't even asked you if you have anything handy for that, so I don't expect if you do or you don't.
So we'll do. We've got some. Let me just jump back on. Sorry. We have in our marketplace a cash bridge dashboard. So we do a sort of historical cash side of things. So we'll look at the movement in cash. We look at cash balances as a whole. This particular one is a new dashboard, cash bridge. It just shows you your starting point. So whatever, you know, in this example, I've set the last 12 months, but equally you could do the last week, the last 4 years, however much data there is. And I think that's the interesting point, is a lot of Sage 50 is sitting on a huge amount of data, which is great for us because it makes them you know, very, very meaningful and powerful. So here it just shows you know, with £1 million in the bank, our closing balance is now 536,000. Where's it gone? You know, we generated profits, but then we've paid out a huge amount in tax. And you can now you can right click, down here, you can right click on any of these and show the transactions as well. So if you were going through and saying, well, I don't know what that asset spend was, you know, let's drill into that. There it is. You've got your asset spend there. It's depreciation on that in that example. So it pulls out all of that information and shows you from one point to the end to the next where you got to. We don't do cash flow forecasting over a longer period. That's a very different kind of product, but we can do short-term forecasting, taking the information that's held within Sage. The other area is budgets. We do a lot of budget work with people, so the budgets can either be stored inside Sage, or you can import them straight into Reveal. So we've got Excel templates that we import on our side. So yeah.
Well, look, we were looking for a brief overview. We have done a more in-depth demonstration, which we'll include in a link to the video as well, on this some time ago now, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
But we'll add it there for people. We have a couple of questions that have come in, a couple here from Nicholas. Hi, Mark, can I please ask how you would switch between company data sets for those users who have many different companies?
Yeah, sure. So simple. We just have, you click on the company name at the top. I won't do it on this example, but it drops down into gives you the other companies there. Yeah. So we do a multi-group kind of discount as well on the subscription fee. So have a chat with Howard about that. Yeah.
The other thing he's mentioned here also, how does the P&L reflect each company data set's own chart of accounts, or is it a default layout created by Reveal?
Yeah, so it pulls through whatever is set as the default chart of accounts in
whatever
Sage.
Set up on Sage. And of course, look, I'd just like to stress to everybody, if there are questions around how your current Sage 50 is set up, if we always encourage people to review what they're working with over a period of 3 to 4 years. If you found that you've gone back to some form of manual sense reporting or otherwise, please talk to us, because we have solutions around Sage 50 that might suit you. Whether it's inherent in the actual system itself, or there's something similar to Reveal that will do the job also. We're very happy to talk to you about that and point you in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, look, we just wanted to give an indication on this actual webinar of what the new version of Sage 50 can do. We mentioned earlier on also just with regards to alternates around the cloud piece as well, in that, you know, some people are using the Sage 50, the old Drive system. And what Sage 50 Cloud does is that it shares a copy of the data to the Sage server and allows you to install your copy of Sage 50 like you're in the office, but effectively on a laptop, and you can access the data wherever you are. Now that does work for some people, it doesn't work for others. If you're looking for an alternative cloud solution using your copy of Sage 50, we do have options around a hosted cloud server for your Sage 50 or 200 or whatever it is, which just sort of takes that out of the actual office itself, gets rid of the physical. They're all fully managed. There are options for that. So reach out and talk to us if it's something of something of interest. Also, on a one-to-one basis, we're more than happy to talk to you about how you're backing up your copy of Sage 50 data, some disaster planning around, you know, should anything happen, how do I access the data rapidly? You know, we've spoken to quite a number of customers in the last couple of years in relation to that, and we have a number of options we can nominate and bring forward to you. Aside from that, I think, you know, we don't have any more other questions, I don't think, here at the moment. What I would say to everybody, again, many thanks for attending today. We're going to be sending out a copy of this with the links provided. Do, by all means, get in touch with me here if there's anything we've spoken about that's of interest to yourselves. We can point you in the right direction. We can give you an idea of what's involved in how we can implement these solutions, or how we can actually look at what you're working with currently and how better you can work with that system. And don't forget as well, for advice, we have a full chartered accountant in-house in DB Computer Solutions. So if you want to talk technically about some adjustments that you're looking to implement with your copy of Sage 50, or if you're moving from one system to the other, what's involved in that, reach out. You can contact me there, shared on screen at howard@dbcomp.ie. So without further ado, I'd like to thank both Anya and Mark today for presenting the solutions, looking at Sage 50, looking at the potential integration that Reveal provide. And if there's anything there on the integrated side that you're looking at on the warehouse management piece or anything else, please do get in touch with me. So thanks very much for everybody, and we'll share everything to you, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.